Army strong. US Army strong. The number one in the world. The greatest thing what happened to me now this I joined the US Army in my 20s. I left Nigeria in my 20s. US Army strong. Girls with the shadow. Girls with the shadow. Nobody fit check on. Nobody fit check on. And they see all na celebrities and some of na, you know, some of na pastors. Now they talk rubbish. Now they talk rubbish. Say number one, make a first start from this place. In a thought say now USA can't like America. Say now USA can't like America. Say USA don't like America. Number one, go and check fact. I don't say most of na for Nigeria na be mumu. Now why look I come out there when in my 20s, early 20s, because I don't say most of na be mumu for there. Now what's in the top for man? Now maths na always talk. In a thought say USA don't like Nigeria. Say now they just like Nigeria. Say una don't say Nigeria now he get the highest population of Africans for USA, and USA don't like Nigeria. Go and check, because now the check record, now no get sense. All now do now to cruise. We don't know say now cruise Nigeria did for no sense. Just come cash cruise online, nobody get sense. After 3 days, they don't forget, they don't move on. Anywhere the left face fans, now no get sense. Now one now president, with all my leaders, then they chop in my head, now no get sense, because they know so most of them no get sense. Now 10 kilo by me when I get. Let it all get happen. All happen, they kill many people, they like say now AI. Say no happen, now no get sense. No brain.
The president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, our dear Archbishop Daniel Oko, the president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, our beloved Bishop Francis Wale Oke, religious leaders in the Christian community in Nigeria, how far? Did you turn off your mics? What happened to your voices, our dear fathers in the Lord? What exactly is going on? Since the raising of the issue of killing of Christians or genocide in Nigeria by the United States government, your silence have been more audible than all your sermons put together. What exactly is going on? Why are you running, our dear fathers in the Lord? Do you have a problem with the word genocide, or are you trying to deny that there have been no killing of Christians in Nigeria?
Weekend, President Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. That is tremendous news. It's something that I've been advocating for a long time. There is no country on earth where Christians are more persecuted than Nigeria. Since 2009, more than 50,000 Christians have been murdered by Boko Haram and radical Islamic extremists. More than 20,000 churches and schools have been burned to the ground. I introduced legislation to direct the administration to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. President Trump has done that. Thank you, President Trump. We're going to keep the fight going to protect Christians and to protect religious liberty.
This issue of Christian genocide that Trump talked about in this country and said that he's coming to clear those terrorists that are perpetrating this act has generated series of concerns, or should I say reactions, that we even think of. Even most of those concerns and reactions are quite shocking. Some of them are revelation that when you hear them, you'll be like, wait a minute, can you say it again? Now, just like I posted yesterday, this man came out yesterday and said that it was these same people in the government that first of all went and reported this act to US government. Now the matter came up, they are trying to say something else. So many people has come to talk, just like what Sheikh Gumi has been saying all this while, and you'll be wondering what is actually going on. Is there something that they are not telling us, or what is actually happening? In fact, more revelations are coming, and people from this country, citizens of this country who have joined US Army, have said that this is a chance that we cannot miss. That this one, they are saying that the US is coming to take natural resources, take this one and take this one, that they are trying to switch the narrative and stop Trump from coming to remove our biggest challenge in this country, which is insecurity. In fact, not be smart, but I'm going to allow you to listen to some videos, and as you are listening to it, make sure you are sharing your thoughts with me on the comment section. Share the video and also subscribe for more updates, and after that I will be back. Let's go there.
In a thought say US Army, then they go anywhere where they go, say that they always make sure say the country no progress again. Now the lori buruku. Make I count the numbers of country where US Army day, where the country still progress. We have a base in Poland. Poland is still progressing. US Army is in Poland right now as I'm talking. US Army is in Germany. Why their country? Why we not steal their natural resources? They are coming to steal our natural resources. And any country where they go, how can you come from one country and be stealing somebody's natural resources? How is it possible? If at all, if any country will steal anybody's natural resources, it's gonna be with the permission of that government. Now, no get sense. Now, how long will I go take to move for Nigeria? All politicians don't know say now foolish. Now no get sense. Now why they always play on our brain? can somebody come from another country and enter another man's country and be stealing their natural resources without the approval of that government? How is it possible? It's not possible. So if at all, if any country will even want to steal anybody's natural resources, it's with the permission of Naoga. So it's not possible, which is a lie. Oriental Puruni, you now go to any country where US go, you know they progress. Libyans are the one that killed Gaddafi themselves. It's not America. America has nothing to do. Show us your evidence. Because you all are entering my DMs. Some people are entering my DMs. This and that. Don't come. Oh. Mr. Trump is not telling, Mr. President is not telling us to go to, they don't tell US Army to go to Nigeria to go kill, it's not to kill anybody, it's for peacekeeping. They are not going to Nigeria to fight innocent soul. What Mr. Trump was talking about, Mr. President is talking about, is that they should stop killing of the Christians. And the Christians could be anybody, because if they come for peacekeeping, is everybody they will protect. Because nobody said they go right now for anybody and say this one a Christian, this one a Muslim. Mr. President don't need any of your natural resources. We have everything in America. That is why all of them they come America. And the country we are fighting for, that's why we stand for America, because that's the country I'm fighting for. So all of Nigeria British, Nigerian, they come the Big Party, all them Dr. Seed. All of them, they plenty. Today is not the day where J1, all of them the day after their career don't crash for Nigeria, they come. All of them, in America they come. Why they don't go another country? But in America won't come to your natural resources, but all of them won't come to America. And I don't say that they're mad. The whole world wants to come to America. The country be defended by the Marines and the US Army. All of them won't come. Thief. But you all will be talking shit about America. And I go talk to America is the one sponsoring all those kidnapping, terrorism in the world. Where's the evidence? Where is your evidence? Why all of them they come America to survive, to come do paper? We have a base in Poland. Why we not steal the natural resources? We have a base in Germany. We have US Army went to Afghanistan to work with security forces of Afghanistan to fight against Taliban. They didn't go there to fight Afghanistan. They went there to fight Taliban that are fighting Afghanistan. And we left Afghanistan because we spent too much money in Afghanistan. We lost like 1,000 soldiers. Taliban that died, they are over 100,000. Taliban's way buy for Afghanistan is over 100,000. Go and check. We only lost 1,000 soldiers or thereabouts. So US Army is the number one. There's nothing like we left. We ran away from Afghanistan. We didn't run. We left Afghanistan because we were there to help their security forces, and we are paying too much money. It's not like all those idiot soldiers that doesn't know anything. Like this one that is following, where they follow Portable Talk. We don't know anything about. See as they follow Portable Talk. See person they follow Portable Talk. This one like Mumu like this. See. That's the follow Portable Talk. No get energy. See soldier. We're supposed to position Portable. We're supposed to basic pay. This one don't know anything about me. He doesn't know anything about me. Forget in rank. See as they talk. We're supposed to, I don't feel talk, but Portable they talk because there is action. Now we don't go behind me. We get action anywhere we went. People they fear us. We know the history. USA Army didn't go to Afghanistan to steal their natural resources. We went there to support these Afghanistan security forces to fight the Taliban. And they were able to, to bring down US Army of like 1,000 soldiers thereabout. Taliban were buy for this over 100,000 when we dropped. We left Afghanistan. We didn't run away in Afghanistan. We left there because we spent too much money there. We have all our big planes there. Mobility command, air mobility command, everything we come out for there. All this one don't know anything about me. All our equipment, we even left some because we were wasting money there, over billions of dollars. That was why we left. We didn't run away in Afghanistan. They know. We not many Taliban were fight Afghanistan. We didn't go there to fight Afghanistanis. We went there to fight Taliban, to help Afghanistan security forces. Any country where you see Americans going there, we are going there to help their security forces to stop ISIS. We are not going there to fight them because you people don't have sense. We are not going to fight any countries. Most people will join me, they don't know anything, they just join me. Most Nigerians will join me, they just join me because of paper. They don't know anything about the army. Now we don't go behind me. Now we they represent army. Those ones don't know anything about me. We have base in Germany, we have base in Poland, we have base in Kuwait. Up to now, why we not see the natural resources? We have base in everywhere, Iraq. Till we just never. Why we not see the natural resources in Iraq? We have base in Jordan. Camp Ajifan for Jordan. Why we not see the natural resources in Jordan? We are always there for peace. We are all because the whole world they rely on US Army. They rely on US Marines. So that's why we're always out there to support. We haven't fought war in a very long time. Maybe the last time we fought war, maybe it's the Vietnamese time. We haven't fought war. Any place we go to is for peacekeeping. We are supporting because the whole country depend, not like all those Chinese when they come to America, where they call it suffer. Chinese is good. They are coming to America to do paper. Have you seen any Americans going to Chinese to do paper? On our mouths. America is the greatest country. So respect Mr. President. We are not going to Nigeria to fight the innocent people. Mr. President is sending the troops there to stop terrorism, to stop genocide, to stop kidnapping. They are not going there to fight Nigeria. All this I say, all this one boy portable, all those Mr. Jalov, they tell those gege, those idiots, those illiterates, those na pastor, those show with all of them. They are going there to support the masses, people that have been taken advantage of. Now we don't go be military, we know the work. But it's my journey here, so I just make a clear and doubt. US Army strong, fight for the right, and the ready and the army is rolling along. And it's IIA, the army's on his way. Scan of the kid is not as strong. If it ever go, you will always know that the army is rolling along. God tell their father that we're gonna be the US Army. Not all those nonsense that they say, all those Nigerian that they say, we don't know anything about the army.
You've been quite vocal about this online. You've expressed your views. You've seen the glass half full, and you've described this as a necessary evil, quote unquote, so to say, that Nigeria needs. Why do you think this issue remains such a polarizing conversation, with some people talking about the ulterior motives of the United States and China just expressing that same sentiment earlier in the day about this being a pretext for some sort of interference that could lead to economic exploitation and a lot more?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is why it became a polarizing statement is because there is a religious connotation to it. Since if you look at Donald Trump's speech, he mentioned Christian genocide that naturally would trigger an impulsive response from the Muslim side. Meanwhile, when you look at the core issue that triggers the so-called Christian genocide was because Christians were the ones that made the report. Had the Muslim done the same thing, it could have been that they will also include Muslim genocide, Christian and Muslim genocide, but Muslim organization didn't go to report it. And that's basically where the issue is. And on China coming on board is just a factor of strategic rivalry. Wherever US goes to the west, China will naturally go to the east. But it has no any bearing upon the stand of United States when they want to project their national interests. You've seen it historically. China opposed invasion of Afghanistan. It doesn't stop United States from staying there for 20 years. Similarly in Iraq, it doesn't stop them. In fact, most recently, the biggest, most strategic ally of China in the Central Asia is Iran. China vehemently, strongly stopped Trump or the US from invading Iran for whatever reason. Yet, Trump bombed Iranian nuclear facility and nothing, they did nothing, absolutely. Look at Gaza. China was strongly against the genocide in Gaza, but they couldn't do nothing. So just strategic rivalry. So anybody that is thinking that if China is talking, it's like China is coming to fight on our behalf, should US decide to invade Nigeria, it's just making a maybe very...
You think this is a symbolic show of support and nothing more?
It's just symbolic show of support.
But some would say, listen, China has a lot to lose if United States does what it wants to do.
In fact, the truth of the matter is China also is feeling the pains of the economy of Nigeria like many other Nigerians, because they have several companies that operate in Nigeria that most of them are currently crying of not being paid for the services they have rendered. So I want you to believe that when you look at the Chinese policy globally, you will see that their response in Nigeria was purely out of strategic rivalry. It has no any basis in action. So should US decided to do anything, China will only issue strong press statements, and then strong worded diplomatic messages, but yet do nothing. That's what it is. So we don't begin to see this as somebody that is coming to back us. Nigeria need to get its foreign policy acts together. The truth of the matter is, this government's foreign policy, as I mentioned earlier in one of my writings, is the laziest we have seen in the history of Nigeria. There is no activity. And any country that you don't send foreign representation in form of ambassadors, it's like you are rebuting them. It's like you don't recognize their sovereignty. And
if we had an ambassador in the United States, things would have turned out differently?
It would have been done because this issue didn't start now. It started building up since February 2025. You know, the US delegation, like from the Congress, came to Nigeria 3 times to investigate and make fact findings. They were in many places in Plateau and Benue. Plateau and Benue. Although I saw some people are saying that they didn't go to Zamfara, but the people that invited them were the people of Benue and Plateau. Why didn't the Zamfara people and the Sokoto people and the Katsina people also go and invite them? They didn't do that. So they came on fact-finding mission. You don't have a foreign representation in that country. You don't have any intelligence to understand that this is actually what is likely going to happen. You now start a fire brigade approach after we have already been listed as a CPC, country of particular concern. So that you are just reactionary, because you are supposed to proactively respond to this and prevent the listing in the first place. The fact that we are listed as CPC means that they have already built.
I mean, we're recommended. Case. I mean, I don't think they've finalized the process yet.
Yes, in fact, the process was there. They sat today, they will sit tomorrow, they will sit next tomorrow. It's likely that by Friday they will pass.
You think it's a foregone conclusion?
It's a foregone conclusion.
But what do you make about the merit of the argument? Because you hear from ECOWAS, you hear from the National Assembly, you hear the federal government's response, you hear from the Chief of Defense Staff who say, listen, we have a security challenge. We do not have a genocide to deal with in this particular country. Why do you think this tag of genocide continues to stir such, emotional reaction from people? Because Nigerians are divided between those who believe there's a genocide and those who categorically think it's an overstatement to say genocide.
The truth of the matter is, the US president did not specifically mention genocide in his words. He said existential threat, but the Christians have existential threat in Nigeria. So we need to understand this word itself.
I mean, but other people who are parroting the Ted Cruz's and all the other lawmakers.
Cruz have to do this because in addition to the bill that he is pushing, which he wants to garner support, he also wants to consolidate his Christian evangelical support base at home. So it's purely political. So we don't interpret what they are doing from the real action. So, and we have a security issue in Nigeria, and it started since 2009. Did we solve this problem? Did people stop dying? Don't we need American support? Don't we need international support? Don't we need Chinese? Don't we need Russians? Don't we need international support? We do need, because ourselves you cannot solve this problem. And Nigeria, especially Nigerian military, most of the senior leadership are trained in the US. Like especially the current service chiefs, they are all US trained. So they only know how to operate in the area of tactical and strategic operations with US weaponry. So should we build a resenting diplomatic row between Nigeria and the US, and they decide to sanction us and refuse giving us these weapons, how do you think we will find the banditry? So what I'm saying is, it is very important for us not to be emotive and impulsive. We have to be very pragmatic and realistic. We have to accept the fact that killings is happening, and that we have to accept the fact that we need help, and that we have to redirect the new attention of the US towards the bandits and the terrorists that are killing our people. That's what we should do. Not to categorically condemn them and say that the US is trying to come and invade the country and start killing us. That is not the case. Another thing again is that the US did not categorically say they are coming to invade. They say that this option is on the table. And in diplomatic relationship, if you become very irresponsible and unreasonable, you push your interest based on emotion, that's when you're actually attracting war.
But this intervention, tone is very important, isn't it?
Yes.
The way President Trump said it, the way Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of the Defense Department, or Department of War, as they call it now, said it. It didn't look like Nigeria's government was factored into the conversation. It's unsolicited intervention. And the big question is Nigeria not a sovereign nation? Can another nation just offer help unsolicited?
No. Nigeria has consistently sought for United States help. In fact, in 2014, Nigerian opposition party, then the APC, were in the White House seeking for the same help on the same Christian genocide as a fallout of the Chibok Girls. This is established. The second thing again is that even most recently, we acquired $346 million worth of weaponry from the US, and we are trying to send our military personnel to go and train as a factor of diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and the US. And US has been consistently, in addition to other partners, listed as supporting countries to help us in eradication of terrorism. And don't forget, it is a United Nations Convention on Counterterrorism that empowers the United States to become the global front or focal point in fighting against terrorism. And wherever a word terrorism was defined in a given area, that means US have right to protect. They call it a responsibility to protect R2P. They have right to invoke that R2P to get into that country and destroy that terrorism. Yeah. So what we should show in our own case in Nigeria is that we should show commitment and willingness to partner to eliminate the threat of terrorism, not completely condemn a hand that is coming to help us and then put a motion forward. We can negotiate with them. We can tell them, give us the weapons responsibly. We can discuss with them and acknowledge that this genocide is taking place. Yes, they say Christian genocide. Now we can justify to them that, look, it's not only genocide, it's not only Christians, Muslims also are affected.
But do you agree with the categorization that it's a genocide?
I actually, when I look at the damages, when you look at the total number of the people that have been killed over time in Nigeria, and they are killed defenseless in villages, sleeping in their homes, then what can you call this, for God's sake?
Do you think there's a genocide?
I think it's actually pure genocide, because you just come and kill people, just like that. And this thing has been happening. Several villages in Katsina destroyed, several villages in Sokoto gone, several villages in Zamfara every day.
I mean, if you have to zoom out and consider the numbers in totality, one would say there is also a genocide in the United States.
Yes.
Much more than what is actually happening in Nigeria. There have been more attacks on worship centers, mosques, churches, synagogues in the US from 2000 to date, 3 times what has happened in Nigeria over the last 1.5 decades.
I'm not a lawyer. Right. I am not an international criminal attorney. I will not understand that, but I know that there is a difference between hate crime and genocide. Like what happened in Gaza, you are killing defenseless people, is called genocide.
Right. But the US disagrees. And thank you for bringing the Gaza point up, because the question is, there are a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to the United States foreign policy, especially when the interest is at play. Where is the same categorization on Israel when it came to Gaza, where you're talking about thousands of people killed within the space of just 2 years, right? Women and children, defenseless, as you've said.
Yes.
Where's the same anger? Where's the same categorization for Israel? Because they've not even admitted that what has happened in Gaza is a genocide. Ergo, the reason why people question their motive for coming to Nigeria, or at least focusing on Nigeria.
To be very candid with you, the United States foreign policy globally is driven strictly by self-interest. If it benefits them, even if the whole world is dying, they will justify it. You can see some places like Nigeria, they will come and accuse us for not practicing democracy. But there they are backing autocracies in other places where it fits them. In fact, in some places like Syria, they converted the #1 terror fighter, Al-Jolani, to Ashara and made him president. So it's all strategic interests. But you, as a country, you don't feed that strategic interest. If you come with emotion without pragmatism, without responsible approach, you are feeding the desire for them to exert and exercise this interest. So what you should have done is to find a very common ground, not to ever allow this diplomatic round to go high. Accept it and take ownership of whatever action they want to do, and then implement. But the situation whereby you rebuke, deny, condemn, you are further giving them to justify with their audience to come here in the interest of whatever strategic interest they are trying to target in Nigeria, to say that they are fighting to protect the Christians. Meanwhile, what they are doing is not actually fighting to protect the Christians. They actually have strategic interests. So to defeat them is to be very pragmatic and realist. You have to approach it the way it is. You have a problem. We also identify that this is a problem. We take ownership of this problem. What is that your strategic interest? Bring it on the table. Let's discuss it. We will take ownership. We will cleanse our country. But please, guys, we know you are superpowers, but we are good at our tax.
So you're basically saying the President Tinubu should bend the knee and not act like a leader of a sovereign nation and basically kowtow to what the US wants.
No. What I'm saying is this: the president should be very pragmatic. Very, very pragmatic. You have to accept your weaknesses. Accepting weaknesses doesn't mean you are bending the knees. When you want to go and look for loan in another man's country, doesn't mean that you are bending the knees. You're actually accepting a weakness that you don't have enough money. That's not bending the knee.
Yeah, but it's not free money, is it?
It's not free money, it will be paid. Similarly, the aid they are going to give you in terms of military to confront the terrorists is not free. You are paying for it. But the fact that you acknowledge your weakness, it means that you are being pragmatic. This weakness has existed for 16 years. We cannot lie to ourselves that it doesn't exist. And don't forget, it started in a very small area in the northeast. And this now expanded to the northwest, to the north central, and then moving to the forest in the south. And then you tell me that this is not a weakness? This is a weakness. So if it is a weakness, as a president, accept it. When you accept it, own it. When you attempt to seek partnership based on strategic alliances. This is what I will do. This is what you said. This is what I accept. Please don't do this. It is a weakness. We have accepted there are killings in our land. Let's work together. But do not go and be confronting them, attacking them. You hate our country. You want to invade our country. You want to destroy us. You want to steal our resources. You want to steal our...
So you think the response of the Tinubu administration has been lackluster? What exactly?
Actually, to me, it's very amateurish. Right. Because it looks like there is a media diplomacy. You see several media heads issuing different frontline center kind of statements. So you can't even coherently, articulate that what is the real position of this government regarding this issue. Because you see this one talking this way, you see that one talking this way, you see this one talking this way, you see that one talking this way. You see less of even foreign ministry acting. So what is the problem? This is a frontline something. This is something outside the border. Right. So why is it that you have only aides jumping around with their own instinct, issuing statements on behalf of a country without even coherent and articulated discussion? In foreign policy makes nation. And in, last one. In the instrument of power equation, the first thing that comes within the 7 critical letters of instrument of power is diplomacy. You have to start with diplomacy. Dimefil, D-I-M-F-I-L. The dime itself, the D, start with diplomacy. If you don't get your diplomacy right as a nation, you have lost right to your sovereignty.
You get the point now. Share your thought with me on the comment section. And of course, you know the vibe. Click on that subscribe button, follow, and share for more updates. Because like this, we move.